Hey peeps, I'm Rick Roberts, and this is Rick Roberts Like the Podcast. This is a small intro on what we're going to be talking about today. Now, my question for you is, do you feel like you are like the supporting cast in a movie? Do you feel like you're the clunky best friend who just doesn't get the girl or doesn't get the good grades, and you have to kind of just fumble your way through while someone else gets all the applause, whatever? Now, I want you to know something. God has made a story about you. You are the main character in your story. But the question is, what character have you given yourself? How do you identify in your own story? If you would like to have these questions and hear more about this, please listen to my podcast. We're actually going to go into this and talk about this a little bit. And I'm hoping to encourage you to see that you are important and that you are the main character of your story. It is up to you to see how your plot's going to be and how your story's going to be. I'm Rick Roberts. Thank you so much for checking this out. You stay classy. Hey peeps, I'm Rick Roberts, and this is Rick Roberts Life, the podcast where we talk about my faith, my thoughts, my life. And today is Thursday Thoughts, and my thought for you today is, are you the main character of your story? Now, it is very easy to live your life and to feel like you're not that important, to feel like, other people are more valuable, they're doing more noteworthy things than what you're doing. But here's the true story. In the story of you are the main character. You have the opportunity to have a wonderful ending. You just have to do your best to plan the plot to do that. Now, of course, we can't control everything that's happening in the world, but we can do our best to stack the deck. Now, you do not have to be, the happy-go-lucky best friend that never gets the girl. You don't have to be the not-so-smart sibling. You don't have to be the person that just never gets the raise. You can choose to be whoever it is you want to be. You just have to put the hard work in and do whatever it is you can to reach out and get it and have patience to get it in the end. Now, with most stories, if you read page 1 and it says, hey, everything, ended well on day 1, there was no conflict, it was, smooth sailing, you're like, okay, let me see page 2. If you get to page 50 and there's no conflict and everyone's happy-go-lucky all the time, you gonna be sick. You gonna put that book down and be like, I ain't reading that. That book's trash. Now, the things that make every story, every movie interesting is the conflict, the tension between where the person is to where they're going, getting what it is that they need to be where they need to end up. We love conflict in movies. We love conflict in story. And so in order for your story to be interesting, you need to have conflict. Now, I'm not saying for you to go out there and pick fights with people. That's not the conflict we're looking for. We're looking for the adversity that you have to go through to get to where you're supposed to be. Now, as people tell you no, they're only making your story more interesting. People will say, oh no, sorry, we don't need that. Sorry, no, we decided to go a different direction. Sorry, you're just not the one for me. As they say these things, do not take it personally. Smile and say, when that book comes out, it's gonna be a bestseller, because look at all the adversity I went through to get to where I need to be. And so hang in there, continue to keep working hard, continue to keep going through that adversity, because that's what's gonna make your story interesting. And as you're sitting on your porch, talking to your grandkids, talking to your family, saying, what did you do to get to where you are today? You're going to captivate everyone, because they're going to say, wow, you've been through that? You had your house foreclosed on? You were fired from your job on Christmas? You had your husband leave you? You had your wife leave you? You went through all of this. You lived out of your car. And we're here today because you didn't give up, because you continue to hold on to the dream. You're going to inspire so many people because you decided to to go through adversity and to hold on to what's important to you. And so my thought for you today is, what role do you have in your story? Are you some secondary character, or are you the main character? Are you going to have a happy ending, or will it be a tragedy? Some of us are living comedies out there. I mean, if you look at what goes on in our week, you just have to sit down and laugh. And so continue to write your story and do not quit. There are two people that I absolutely love saying their stories in the Bible. The first story I love to talk about, as you guys have heard in the podcast, is the story of Joseph. He went through adversity after adversity, and he still ended up being the second most powerful person in Egypt. He wouldn't let nothing shut him down, and he continued to have faith in what God said was going to happen for him, and God fulfilled. And when he did fulfill, he fulfilled big. Everybody had to take notice of who this person was. And I said this in my previous podcast, if he was never locked up, if he was never betrayed by his brothers, if he was never lied on by his master's wife, if he was never put in slavery, his story would not be the same, and it would not be as interesting. And the second person I love to tell the story of is the Samaritan woman. She has had 5 husbands, and the person she was living with was not her husband. Her society had saw her as an outcast. She had to go to the well in the middle of the day because she didn't want to have people talking and gossiping about her and making fun of her. She went in the middle of the day in the heat, and she went to go draw this water. And she didn't realize that that day was going to be a life-changing day. The story she kept telling herself was, I am someone that is not important. I am someone that just can't get my stuff right. I can't get my life right. I can't get myself set up. I'm a failure. But that day when she met Jesus, she realized that her story was more than what she ever thought it was going to be. She became the person that introduced the Messiah to her people. They were waiting all this time for the Messiah, and she, a lonely outcast, was the one that was chosen to introduce the Messiah to her culture. And so you may feel as though you are an outcast. You may feel as though your life just isn't working the way it's supposed to, that your family is looking at you as a failure, that your friends are just taking pity on you, and you feel like you don't know why you should even exist. Continue to go through that adversity. Realize that God has made you for a reason, and He's writing your story because your story is going to touch and change the lives of many. So tell your story well, live your story well, keep your head up, and keep moving forward. I'm Rick Roberts, and you stay classy.